Icon series.
Morning children. So in the previous class we have completed the lesson about the northern plains, the second major physical feature of India, and now we have come to the next one, the Great Indian Desert. Okay, so in the first chapter we read about the Himalayas, which lies in the northern part of India in three ranges, mountain ranges. And then to the south of it, we had the Great Indian Plain, which is flourished by the Satluj Plain, the Gangetic Plain, and the Brahmaputra Plain, which will extend into the northeastern part. Right now, to the west of this particular northern plains, right, to the west. So this is the northern plains. To the west of this, we have the Great Indian Desert, the driest land area in India. Okay, so to the west of northern plains, we have the Great Indian Desert. It is also known as the Thar Desert. What do we call that? Either we call it the Great Indian Desert or the Thar Desert. Got it? Now, the extent of the Thar Desert is actually the Kutch region. So, this is the western side of representational map, not exact, okay? So, the western side of India, right? And this region of Gujarat is known as the Rann of Kutch. Okay. Rann of Kutch. So it starts from this region, the edges of Rann of Kutch, and here we have Punjab and Haryana. So it extends up to Punjab Haryana region in the north, and we have Aravalli mountains here. Okay, we have Aravalli mountains here. And this shaded region is the extent of the Thar Desert. Okay, it's not just within the physical boundary of the political boundary of Rajasthan. It actually gets extended into the Pakistan also. Okay, so to the west of the northern plains. To the west of the northern plains, we have the driest land region of India, which is called the Great Indian Desert or the Thar Desert, right? So, the Thar Desert or the Great Indian Desert is the driest part of India that lies on the western side of northern plains. It's very dry. This is vast. It's very vast, isn't it? It's a very long area is there actually in this Thar Desert. It is dry. Yeah, it's a desert. So definitely it will be dry. Then sandy. Deserts will not have fertile soil, isn't it? The kind of soil that we have in the desert region is a sandy soil and rocky also. Rocky means, plenty of rocks are there, right? We know most of the marbles that we buy nowadays in our for the construction of our houses and all. Yes, most of them come from Rajasthan region. Okay, so the speciality of Indian desert, it's very vast. And entire one of the biggest states of India is Rajasthan, and it's almost completely covered in the Thar Desert. And it also extends to some regions of Pakistan also. So it's very vast, it's very dry, it's desert, there won't be very high rainfall there, so definitely that is dry. Sandy, it's full of sand, there's no fertile soil available there, and then it is very rocky. Okay. Now, we know desert region receives very less rainfall. Desert region receives very less rainfall, and there are not much other water sources also. Deserts receive very less rainfall and there are not much other water resources also. Okay, so underground water resources actually depends upon the rainfall, isn't it? The underground water resources basically depends upon a rainfall. So as the rainfall itself is very less, there are not much underground water sources also as far as the deserts are concerned. Okay, so as water is very less, plants and animals are also very less in this region. The kind of plants what we can commonly find here are thorny plants. What kind of plants are seen there? Thorny plants like cactus. So what is the speciality of cactus? There are two specialities that makes cactus a suitable or ideal plant to be grown or which can grow in desert and dry region. Okay, so there are two basic reasons which make a cactus special or it can grow in the desert region. One, its roots can go very deep and far low. Okay, its roots can go very deep and far in search of water. Second, have you seen cactus leaves? It's fleshy. Okay, so it's a thick cover and within that there's a jelly kind of a stuff. So it stores water in those leaves. Okay, so cactus are some of the thorny plants which can grow there, very commonly grown. Then there is another common tree called the kikar. That's a bushy plant. Oh, okay. Then there is a babool tree. Babool. Right? So most often the common kinds of plants or trees that we can find in the Indian desert region are thorny plants like cactus, then kikar and babool. Right? We have already seen the desert is covered with sand. Okay, desert is a dry land. It's covered with the sand, and sometimes there will be sand dunes. So what is sand dunes? Yeah, sand dunes are nothing else but a heap of sand which resembles a small hill or something like that. Show a picture of that. So sand dunes are nothing else but a heap of sand which looks like a hill. And another common factor that we can find in desert region are sandstorms. So there are no plants and trees over there, isn't it? So the wind can blow with its maximum speed, and as it blows at the maximum speed, what happens is it carries a lot of sand also along with that. So in sand, we know there are small particles are there, big particles are there, isn't it? Sand has a small particles, sand has a big particles, right? So now, the smaller particles of sand can be easily carried away by the wind, right? So, when the speed of the wind reduces, what happens? Yeah, all the sand that this wind was carrying gets settled, deposited at one place. Got it? All the sand that it was carrying gets deposited at one place, and that appears to be a heap, a hill. Okay, and that is what we call as a sand dunes. So most often sand dunes are created by the wind, and the sand dune can be carried away by another wind also. Okay, so the soil in the desert region is more sandy, and the sand dunes are the heap of sands which resembles small hills which are commonly found in the desert region. They are not permanent. They are not fixed at one place because the heavy wind, we usually call the storms, carry away these sands from one place to another, and the sands get deposited at one place when the speed of the wind gets less. Fine. So then the sand dunes get transferred from one place to other. Okay. So sandstorms and dust storms are quite common in a desert region. Fine. Now, climate. What do you think about the climate of deserts? We have already seen some features like deserts are very vast, dry land area. Rainfall is very less. Scanty rainfall happens in a desert region. So, what do you think about the climatic conditions of a desert region? Yes, the climatic condition of a desert is it's very hot, isn't it? The deserts are very hot when during the daytime. Okay, deserts are very hot during the daytime and very cold during the night time. Deserts are very hot during the daytime and very cold during the night time. So, hot and cold are at the extreme. So, the climatic conditions in the deserts are extreme climatic conditions because during the daytime it's very hot and during the night time it's very cold. Why? Because this you might have learned in science also. Sand can absorb heat very faster and the sand can release heat also very faster. So during the daytime, the sand absorbs heat faster and become hotter, hotter, hotter and hotter. What happens? Deserts become very hotter during the daytime. At night time, what happens? When the sun goes down and the things around it become cool, the sand will release the heat. Okay, in a very short time, the sand will release all the heat it has and become very cool. Okay, so the sand in the desert regions can absorb and release heat very faster. Okay, sand can both absorb and release heat very faster, and this makes, yes, deserts with the extreme climatic conditions. When it is hot during the daytime, it's very hot, and during the night time, it's extreme cold in the desert region. Okay, so deserts are dry lands. It rains very less. It receives very scanty rain. Then, what about the people there? Is there any river in the deserts? Can we find any rivers in the deserts? Huh? Is there a river in the Thar desert? There is a one river in Thar desert, that is a Loony River. Okay, the name of the river is a Loony. It flows in this region, this direction. What about the other regions? So usually in deserts there won't be any rivers. Okay, so there is no river, there is no rainfall, there are no underground water facilities also available. Then how does people live here? How does the people live here? Yes. So the first thing that we need to understand is a desert is the least populated areas. Deserts are the least populated areas because the climate is extreme, there is no water available, and there is no cultivation kinds of things also possible. Got it? So, deserts are the least populated areas. So, in the middle of the deserts also, there can be some small ponds. Okay? A small pond with some, say, some 5 to 10 trees growing there. Okay? A small pond with some, very few number of trees growing in that region. Okay? And this region is known as oasis. So, what is an oasis? So, oasis is a place or area in a desert where there is a water. Okay, where water is available in a desert is called a oasis. So, even if there are some people who live in desert, they will be living in this area. Which area? The oasis area. Because water is very essential. Okay? And at times, sometimes it rains in the deserts, and during these rains, there will be some small streams happening. Right? So now we have irrigation projects are there. Okay? There is a canal which is named as Indira Gandhi Canal. Okay? There is a canal, a system of canals known as a Indira Gandhi Canal, which is constructed in the Rajasthan region to support irrigation. Support irrigation means, supply water for the crops. Okay. So, Indira Gandhi Canal system is a system of canals that is actually, established or made in the Rajasthan region so that, water can be brought for irrigation purposes. And with these water, now we can cultivate some kinds of crops also. So earlier there used to be only the date palms. Okay. So what are the major trees that were found in the desert region? They are the date palms. Okay. They were the only trees, and in the oasis region we can find some grass also. Okay. They were the common things found in the desert, nothing more than that. But now, with the help of irrigation and all, we are able to grow crops like wheat, maize, jowar, bajra, etc. Wheat is one of the most important food crops as far as the North Indians are concerned, because they eat a lot of wheat as we eat rice, isn't it? Yes. So, wheat is a very important crop for them. Maize and bajra, jowar are also grown extensively in some regions of Rajasthan where irrigational facilities are available. Okay. So, only in those regions where there are irrigation facilities, these crops are grown. Okay. The specialty of the people in Rajasthan are, they are nomads. So, what do you mean by nomads? They are wandering people. They are wandering people. They usually do animal rearing. Sheep rearing is one of the major activities of these people. So they will have a group of sheep. They will travel from one place to other, oasis to oasis. Okay? And once the water will be available there, but once when the food, the grass become less, they will go in search of another oasis. Okay? So the people over there are usually, nomads, right? Then they keep on moving from place to place in search of a livelihood. And one of the most important nomad community is Banjaras. So Banjara is a tribal community who is actually a major nomadic community in Rajasthan or in the Thar Desert. Okay. So most of the people in the Thar Desert region are nomads, and Banjaras are very, very important, a tribal community in the Thar Desert. Fine. Okay. Deserts are sandy. There are some oases where the people need to go to survive. Banjaras are nomads, so they wander. So how do they travel in the hot desert? How do the people travel in hot deserts? How do people travel in hot desert? Is it possible for us to walk long distances in this sandy desert region? Is it possible? Yes, it is possible, but it is very difficult. First of all, water is a problem. When we try to walk long distances under that hot sun, what will happen is that we will become dehydrated. Means the water that we have in our body will get evaporated and we will become tired. Okay. So, if you want to travel in a desert, then we need to take the help of an animal. What is that animal? Which animal's help should we take if you have to travel in a desert, it's called a camel. Isn't it? So this animal, camel, has some specialities which make it survive in the hot deserts. So what makes a camel survive in hot deserts, or what makes a camel suitable to live in hot deserts? First of all, its legs, okay, the paw region is flat. It's a flat, and that is good because when they keep the leg on the sand, it won't sink. If it is pointed, what happens? It is pointed. Now, when they keep this leg in the sand, it digs deep into the sand, isn't it? Now again, when they have to keep the next step, you have to pull it out and keep it again, isn't it? Now the camel, it's very easy because it's flat, it's kept on the sand, it won't sink anywhere, and it can easily walk. Okay, so the hoof part of the camel's leg is actually flat, which makes it easy to walk on the sand, right? Second thing, camel can travel without food and water for many days. It can live without food and water for many days. So when you look at a camel, usually it has a structure like this on the back, isn't it? Huh? Okay, so this is actually what people believe is where the camel stores its water. Once when it drinks water, it can drink continuously for some time and keep the water inside of the body itself, and it can continue. It can live almost a week without food and water, without any trouble, right? So the flat and padded feet of a camel makes it easy for the camel to walk, run and all in the sand. Then it can live without food and water for many days. It can carry luggages also. It can carry luggage. It can walk and live without food and water for days. So these make a camel a special animal in the forest region, and it is known as the ship of the desert. So what is a camel known as? Camels are known as the ship of the desert because it makes life easier in the desert. Okay. So what people usually do is people use a camel for a lot of purposes. For traveling, they ride on the camel. For taking luggage, they use camels. For ploughing the land, here we use bullocks, isn't it? Yeah, there are no bullocks there. They have camels, so they will use camels for that. Okay. Then sometimes we can see group of camels. Group of camels means only one camel that is in the front. They will be going in a line as if they are falling in a queue. Okay. So first one will have a man on top of it, either riding it or walking along with that. All the other camels will be connected one after another, just like the train we have. Engine is there, all the bogies are attached to it one after the other, the same way. Okay, most often 10 or 15 camels can be seen together one after another walking on the sandy deserts. And the first camel alone will have a person along with that. Okay, so these groups of camels which go in this systematic line is called a caravan. So what is a caravan? Yeah, caravan is nothing else but a group of camels going in a single line. Okay. So life in the desert is very hard, very tough. It's made easier by the help of this animal called a camel. Camel is an animal which has got some specialities which make it easy for them to live, survive in the hot conditions of deserts. First of all, it has a padded foot which helps it easy for them to walk or run or do whatever on the sandy desert regions. Second, camels can live without food and water for weeks, so that it's again a convenience, because once when they get into the desert region, they may not get even food and water. They can get them only when they reach an oasis, isn't it? Yes. So, camels are known as a ship of the desert. Camels are used for many purposes, including pulling the carts, ploughing, carrying loads, luggage. Then tourism is another major region where camels are extensively used nowadays. Then we can often see groups of camels going in a line through the deserts, and they are known as a caravan. Fine. We have already seen that there is a river that flows through the Thar desert. That is a river Loony. What is the name of this river? Loony. And Loony is a seasonal river. What do you mean by a seasonal river? Yeah, seasonal river means a river which will have water only during the rainy season. During the summer season, what will happen is the river will go dry. Already it's very hot in the desert regions, and if that region has a river, even during the rainy season, it's a great thing, isn't it? So, see, the Aravalli ranges are the eastern border of Thar desert, and this is actually originating somewhere near there. Okay, so during the rainy season, Loony River will have some water, but during the summer season, it will dry off, and that too, it is flowing through the Kutch region, the Rann of Kutch, not through the middle of yes. Earlier, we believed that there was a river. There was a river that was flowing through the Thar desert region. Now it is not there. So now the government is actually trying to improve the conditions. Improve the conditions means what? Yeah, basically, first of all, we have to make it a place where people can live. If people want to live somewhere, first and foremost thing that they need is water. If there is a water facilities available, people will try to get settled over there. And if water facilities are not available, then people will try to move away from there, because water is such an essential thing. So now the government is trying to establish some water links so that people will like to live in those areas. And in that attempt, Indira Gandhi Canal was established. So this is the biggest canals in India. Okay. The biggest canals in India. See, here we know river Satluj and river Bias are there, isn't it? Yes. So the water from this region is actually diverted through the canals which are dug in this region. So this is known as the Indira Gandhi Canal or the Rajasthan Canal. Okay. So by establishing this Indira Gandhi Canal or the Rajasthan Canals, what the government is trying to do is make the land area in the Rajasthan region useful. How we can make that useful? Yeah, if we can make that useful, good for cultivating different crops, then it will become very useful for us, isn't it? Yes. Now, we are irrigating a large area, something around 40,000 acres. So what is the total land area that is being irrigated by the Indira Gandhi Canal or the Rajasthan Canal? 40,000 acres of land is actually irrigated by this canal. Okay, and in this land area, we cultivate crops like wheat, maize, jowar, the millets are grown with the help of this irrigation purpose. Okay, the government itself has started a wheat cultivation region. So it's at Suratgarh. Suratgarh is a place where the government itself has started its own wheat cultivation area. That wheat cultivation area is 40,000 acres. Okay, so the government established wheat cultivation area, which is being irrigated by the Indira Gandhi Canal or the Rajasthan Canal, is of 40,000 acres. And in addition to that, there are the common, the public areas which are being irrigated by the canals also. Okay, so now Indira Gandhi Canal is trying to bring agriculture possible in Rajasthan region. If this works, if people can fix themselves with the agricultural aspect, see, Punjab is Punjab was getting dry, the desert was getting expanded, but now with irrigation facilities, we are covering more lands, we are establishing greenery over the lands, and the Thar desert can be reduced. Okay, but it takes a lot of time. Though it's a desert, Rajasthan is one of the most beautiful places in India. The Thar desert region is one of the most beautiful places in India, as we have a lot of famous cities are there in this region. Okay, so which are some of the famous cities in this region? Say, for example, we have Jaipur. Jaipur is actually the capital of Rajasthan. Jaipur is actually the capital of Rajasthan, and that is also known as the Pink City. Okay, because there are a large number of constructions on this sandstones, right? So that makes it look pinkish, and that is known as the Pink City of India. Then we have Jaisalmer. Another famous city in the Thar desert region is Jaisalmer. Then we have Ganganagar. Okay. Then we have Bikaner. Yes, Bikaner. You know what? Woolen clothes are used in the cold regions, isn't it? Especially the northern mountain regions in Haryana, Himachal, Kashmir and all. We use woolen clothes. Why woolen clothes are used? Because it's very cold there, isn't it? And Bikaner is one of the most famous centers of woolen clothes in India. There are a large number of sheep rearing in units, and the woolen industries are there in Bikaner. Okay, yes. Now, Jaipur. So, all these regions have got some importance in the history of India. So, once upon a time, these were all small kingdoms, and these people had fought very bravely against the British rulers. Okay. Then we have Udaipur. Udaipur is known as the city of lakes. Udaipur is known as the city of lakes, and there is a building which is actually in the lake itself, a palace which is there in the lake itself. Then we have so many other famous tourist attractions like Hawa Mahal, a very huge pink colored building. Hawa Mahal is there. Then palaces are very famous in Rajasthan. When we go to the places like Jaipur or Jaisalmer, we can find a lot of palaces and forts especially. Right? So all these are major tourist attractions. And there is a hill station also in Thar desert region. There is a hill station that is known as Mount Abu. What is it called? Mount Abu. Somewhere here we have Mount Abu, it's not that high a hilly region, but comparatively it's a cooler region than the remaining part of Rajasthan. Okay, so Mount Abu is a hill station that is found in Rajasthan region. Okay, then the palaces, the forts, and the caravans, and some of the resorts and some oases, all are some of the major tourist attractions as far as Rajasthan is concerned. Rajasthan means the Thar Desert region is concerned. Okay, then Ghumar dance, Ghumar, Ghoomer. Ghumar dance is a traditional dance of Rajasthanis. It's one of the major tourist attractions also for the people who go over there. Pushkar Fair. Pushkar Fair is one of the most important and a traditional fair that happens in Rajasthan. The people, art and craft works of Rajasthan is world famous. The art and the craft works of Rajasthan is world famous, and the people from different parts of the world actually come to attend this Pushkar Fair so that they can get a chance to have these things in their possession. Okay. The major industries in the region include cement, glass, woolen goods, rugs, sugar, and dyes. So what are the major industries? Sugar, glass industry, okay, woolen industry. I've told you, Bikana, yes. Then rug means a thick cloth that is made up of wool, right? Then dye means the colors. Then cement, okay. So they are some of the major industries in Rajasthan. Rajasthan is famous for the cultural and the traditional values they follow. The way they celebrate different festivals are very important, and Rajasthanis love to wear colorful dress. Rajasthanis always wear colorful dress, and they do celebrate a large number of festivals also, like Teej, Diwali, Holi, Eid, Dasahara. So many festivals are there, and Rajasthanis are very famous in celebrating these festivals. So most of the regions of Rajasthan is desert, but some regions where people live there are making Rajasthan one of the most important tourist attractions in the world, right? So the Thar Desert or the Great Indian Desert actually lies on the western side of northern plains. Major part of the state of Rajasthan is actually there in that. It extends from the Rann of Kutch region in the south to Haryana in the north, and in the east, Aravalli ranges are the boundaries. To the west, it actually extends into Pakistan also. It's the driest part of India. It's very vast. It's very dry. It's sandy. It's rocky. Agriculture is highly impossible because of the sandy soil and very scanty rainfall. Underground water facilities are not available. Some regions of this desert is now being made, agriculture is made possible in some regions of this Thar Desert with the help of the Rajasthan Canal or the Indira Gandhi Canal, which brings water from the river Satluj or Bias. A very vast land area in Punjab, Rajasthan regions are made possible to have cultivation in that using the water from these canals, right? So the cities in Rajasthan or the Thar Desert like Jaipur, Jaisalmer, Ganganagar, Bikaner, Jaipur, Udaipur, etc. has got a very great historical importance and cultural importance when we check the history of India. It's one of the most important tourist attractions in India also. The people of Rajasthan or the Thar region love to wear colorful clothes. They all celebrate a lot of festivals also. Fine. So this is about the the Great Indian Desert. Okay. You can read this lesson and find more about some of these places what we have discussed in this lesson in the PDF which you can find in the attachment along with this particular lesson, right? So now we will go on to the activity part related to this particular lesson, right?